Did you press the right button, David?
I think so. It's flashing. I think we're
All
on
right.
air. We're
Is
live.
Is it counting down?
It's counting, yes.
Right, okay. I've got a privileged cameraman.
Hi. I didn't realise you were going to do that. I'm a man
David Garrido.
of not so many talents. But anyway, Guillaume,
we've been here enjoying the Clasico. Look at the studio, one of the biggest studios we've ever been doing a Clasico.
Yeah, do you know, it's a good studio. It's a good studio for the final Clasico on Sky Sports. There's Lee, our floor manager.
And it's 2-2. It's a 2-2 with a lot of controversy and a lot of actions that will be discussed to the minutiae detail in the newspapers in Spain. And to do a little bit of that, we've got a privileged guest with me, Javi Gracia of Watford, who's completely scared right now because I haven't told him what we're going to be talking about. I must say, first of all, for those of you that have been watching El Clasico in Sky Sports, you've been fine. You've been great.
You've been brilliant, Harry.
Has been an English masterclass.
Yes, he has been. He has because he was worried because you know television is a worrying environment in the sense that you don't know the timing of it, you don't know who you talking to or when you have to talk, when you have to finish. But it's like you had an earplug in your ear. You just you finish at the right time.
I wasn't worried for today to come to the TV or the program. I was worried because my English is, this way, and I need to improve.
You're all right. You're all right. Anyway, if you're gonna analyze this Clasico, I don't think there's much point in talking about the game and the evolution of the game. It's more about actions, moments that has taken the game one way or the other. Starting, for instance, in the first goal. When Marcelo goes for the pressure high, he leaves all that space for Sergio Roberto. So a defensive mistake that puts Barcelona ahead.
I see. In the first half, for me, in my opinion, both teams try to press high, and the first goals come in a similar situation. The first, Marcelo goes to the opposite half to press, and in that moment doesn't come back quickly, and Sergio Roberto have a big space and time to make a good cross and score. After that, Real Madrid's goal is in a similar situation. Busquets goes to press. Then is superate, and Real Madrid have time to make a good counter-attack and score goal. Second half, playing with 10 players, Barcelona try to be more compact with the two lines of 7 players, 4-3, and in that way create chances playing counter-attack. I think it was an amazing game. We had chances to score goals, a send off. We enjoyed.
The sending off actually was probably out of the big events and decisions that referee had to do, was the right one. Yes, Marcelo provoked Sergio Roberto, but he was fairly sent off. But then there were a couple of incidents in which the referee made the wrong decision. On the goal of Messi, the second goal, which has a second part, which is when Messi out of nothing created a goal. But before that, there was a foul on Luis Suarez on Varane that he didn't see, and then there's a penalty to Marcelo from Jordi Alba. But don't you feel that when you actually the Madrid press will point out at those mistakes, of course. But Real Madrid should have actually played better in that second half, playing against 10. Why didn't they?
I think Real Madrid doesn't need to play better than other teams to win. Many times happens this. They don't need to play much better to win different games they are playing lately. Then today they were confident playing with 11 against 10. Will be able to score and to create chances. Only in the last minutes we could see that motivation, that they are dominate, but not before, and it wasn't enough to win today.
Now, David, what did you see, especially considering the fact that this was a Clasico that perhaps didn't mean as much as others, but in any case, you still got the controversy, the pride, the fight for pride. What else did you see in that game that was different to others?
Well, I think there were flurries of yellow cards. There were flashpoints, weren't there? Now, we've seen this in Clásicos before, but it almost was on that sort of brink where you could sense that it might not just be the one red card, it might be two, it might even be three. And remember that the referee, Hernandez, has had a record of sending off Sergio Ramos. In the two previous Clásicos, he'd sent him off twice. I was expecting it actually to boil over even more. Let's not forget the sort of absentees in this game as well. Cristiano Ronaldo went off at half-time. And that's one of the things that really struck me, is that without him, there was no focal point to the attack. It felt like Real Madrid didn't quite know where they were aiming. You had other options up front, but it wasn't like it was a number 9 that you could aim for, and that's exactly what he's turned into, isn't it, Javi? He's now, a delantero puro. He is not a left winger, even though he started the game there, but he's just turned into probably the most devastating number 9 in the world. Would you agree?
I think in this moment is the best number 9 for the Real Madrid, and they need him doing that work, because he feels the goal. He always is able to score with one touch, and I think they need him.
Yeah, and I think also the other thing I would say is there are certain weaknesses with Real Madrid. We know that they started off with Nacho at right back, but then he lost his discipline. We saw this incredible little scene at half-time. It was fascinating, wasn't it, Guillaume? There was Nacho, who was just standing there in the tunnel at the Camp Nou, and then Gerard Piqué just comes along, just kind of whispers in his ear something, but it was clearly incendiary. Because you look at Nacho's reaction, and he was just like, what? I don't understand. And Piqué just walks off. He's done his bit. He's unsettled him. So much so that then Zinedine Zidane took him off. And I wonder, that's the sort of thing where I think when Dani Carvajal is not there, you've got Ashraf, who's not trusted. You've got Lucas Vázquez, who doesn't really play there. He played there for 20 minutes against Bayern Munich, and then the second leg in the Bernabeu. So I think there are still issues here to be solved. That Gala 11, once you dig underneath it a little bit, there are some weaknesses there, aren't there? What do you think of the main weakness of Real Madrid is? Is it a position, or is it an overall philosophy?
No, I think now we can see when Carvajal is out, is injured, the team is looking for different options, but you cannot see the team playing as they usually do. Then it's a position maybe they need another options for the future.
Ask me about Bale and Messi.
Right then,
Right.
Guillaume, tell us about Bale and Messi.
Could have tried a bit harder. But, no, I wanted to say, Gareth Bale has earned a place in the lineup of Real Madrid for the next game. Not for the Champions League final, for the next game. But he picked a yellow, which means that he won't play the next game. But still, he'll have 2 more games to create a problem to Zidane, which is why he played today. He didn't play today because he deserved it, in a way. They were all players that made a bigger impact, but in the league, he's actually performed well. And now I think he'll be in contention for the Champions League final. Messi, World Cup, I think he started the first half just choosing his moments, and then he went to the second half and realizing that the team needed him, and he offered more. But okay, Barcelona, you had Messi. Just let him rest now. Let him go home. Others will take care of the undefeated season, but he needs to rest to actually arrive into the World Cup with possibilities of making an impact. And by the way, those are not just me saying that; it's voices from Argentina arriving and saying, just get rid of him, just let him rest, just let him go home, and perhaps in the next 2 games he'll do exactly that.
And Javi, just a quick question on Messi, not just the physical rest, but what about the mental rest, because he's so relied upon at Barcelona, isn't he? And yet sometimes just to take yourself out of that intensity, unplug.